everyone. Sue Borison from Your Teen Media. And today I am with two high school girls and Illana Raia, founder of Être, a mentorship platform for middle and high school age girls. And then we have Keren, raise your hand, Keren. Keren Franco, who's a senior at Hackensack High School in New Jersey. And Darby Lee Stack, hi, freshman at Dwight Englewood School in New Jersey. So thanks for being here, all of you. And I'm going to start with just the question of what are you doing to keep yourself busy right now?
Well, I can start. I've been trying to take this time to try out new things. I've been painting. I've painted a couple things. I have a little microscope, and I'm living right by a lake, so I collect samples, and I try to just explore what I can do, kind of just in this free time that I have. I was just in spring break, and so I had 2 weeks just to do all of this stuff, and it was at times just tiring. And you wouldn't normally say this as most students wouldn't, but I kind of wanted to go back to school. So I've been trying new things. We have a trampoline, which is great. So
how many people are in your house right now?
So right now, I'm actually staying at my grandparents' house, but my grandparents are at their other house, so they're not here with us right now. So I'm living with my uncle, my mom, and my brother, and my 2 dogs.
Nice. Okay, Keren, how about you? What are you doing to keep yourself busy?
So I've been reading a lot. I recently just finished the Hunger Games book. I reread that, really good. I've also been binge watching Netflix shows. Just trying to keep myself occupied. I've been writing some music, just dabbling in a little bit of everything to just keep my mind off the fact that I'm inside all the time.
And who's in your space where you're sheltering?
Right now it's just my parents, my mom and my dad, and me.
What I want to know is what are you finding to be the most challenging thing about this time right now?
I think for me, the most challenging thing is that all of my school activities have stopped, and I'm very involved in school. So I have nothing to do. I can't see my friends, and how you would normally communicate with them, you would FaceTime them or something, but it's a completely different thing now that I can't be with them and hang out and stuff. So yeah.
So I want to ask you, FaceTime, we were all complaining about how much time our kids spent on FaceTime, but did that feel like a secondary way of connecting and not the primary way? And now that that's the only way, how does it feel to you?
Well, yeah, I mean, for me, it's more of a secondary way. I'm old fashioned. I like talking to people face to face. I don't really like using my phone to talk to people, but if I have to, right now I have to. So FaceTime is really efficient if you want to see your friends and stuff. But before, I would just text them let's hang out so that I can see them face to face, I think that's better.
So it's interesting because you used it as a mechanism to get together. It was like a scheduler, but not like the way you built your friendships. Okay, and Darby, how about you? What are you finding most frustrating?
I think the most difficult part about this whole thing is my friends, because this was my first year at my new school, and I've made so many amazing friends and bonds, even with my teachers, and that's just something that you can't really get over technology. But FaceTime wise, I think that's the closest thing we're all gonna get to seeing our friends and our relatives. So I try to FaceTime or call or just even text some of my friends to see how they're doing, because that still means that I'm keeping up with them and seeing how they're doing.
Illana, are you finding that most of the girls in your program are feeling similarly?
They are, and I think with Darby and Keren sort of on either end of the high school spectrum, the girls in the middle too are having that, because there's an added loss for the sophomores and the juniors in particular, with the important pre-college things that they're losing this spring. sports seasons are canceled, the major production, the yearbook, any literary magazines, things that they were looking to accomplish and have been working towards. The loss of that, I think, is really hard. And so they are consoling each other and staying connected with FaceTime, with Zoom, with any other, way on social, because there's a loss that they're dealing with too, just with those items.
Right. And so in particular, we've been focusing a lot on our end about those seniors who are really having the biggest impact on them right now because of prom and graduation and all these life cycle events that I imagine you look forward to. Tell us about that.
Well, I had the musical
right,
really the week after we got into quarantine,
Mm-hmm.
and so that got postponed, and we honestly don't know if we're even gonna do it.
So you're in musical theater?
Yeah.
And what was the show?
We were going to do Wizard of Oz, and I was gonna be a crow. So yeah, I was really excited about it because it was my first production at the school. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna do it. Let's go. And it didn't happen, but hopefully once we get back into school, because I know a lot of the programs are trying to do everything they can to get their seasons in and whatever they had planned. So also my winter spring concert, it might get canceled because it was supposed to be in April, but we're not going back to school until May. So my band director has to see if she can postpone it to June or something. So it's just a lot of stuff, and I was really excited about prom. I hope we still have it. It's scheduled for May 21st, I think. So hopefully that won't get postponed because it's such a big thing for all of us. And I think the reason why we're all so upset is that we have been told about this since we were little kids. We've been waiting for this. We've been waiting for the final day when it all actually happens, and now it might not. So I think that uncertainty of not knowing whether or not it is going to be concrete is at least for me, it's what's most frustrating.
Yeah, I feel for you. It's a big deal. So Darby, tell me what is working for you.
Well, I've been trying to do some kind of exercise every day, whether it's I've done some yoga. As I said, we have a trampoline, or just do something with my almost 13-year-old brother. We're very active, so we've been trying to keep active every day. And what's really working for me is that I have time to just try new things. And so I think when everything's back to normal and I'm back at school, I can really take what I learned over this time and take that, those opportunities and really kind of channel them into school and maybe join some new clubs. So
give us an example of something that you're trying to do now that you might not have done otherwise.
Right before this all happened, my dad bought me a keyboard, and so I've been trying to play around with it. I've never really played piano before, but I'm trying to learn off YouTube and things like that. So I think definitely when school resumes, I'm definitely gonna take that opportunity and either find a teacher or just I'm really practicing it a lot. So yeah.
Okay, and Keren, anything that you're trying to make, lemonade out of the lemons?
Well, I'm just taking this time to really make sure that I take care of myself mentally and stuff. I take time, I do all of my schoolwork, but then I also take time for myself, and I also take time to continue to build my relationship with my parents, because I think that's really important. We're in this together, and I know that their mental health might not be okay, so I want to make sure that we're all okay in the house so that we can all get out of this healthy, both physically and mentally.
Illana, anything to add that you're hearing from other kids?
I think there's just a real streak of resiliency, and like you said, make lemonade out of lemons. And from what I'm seeing, that's lifting the households that they're in. Parents might be really stressed and they're worried about economics and safety and getting groceries and just sort of keeping the lid on things. But when you hear that I'm trying new things, I found a new charity I want to amplify on social, I want to, join one of the challenges or campaigns to raise money for some of the first responders, the medical workers. We're seeing a lot of that from exactly this age group. And there's no way that's not a silver lining, because it really is, I think, making everything else in the household just a little bit lighter, a little bit brighter.
It is amazing to see what you guys are doing under the circumstances. So what do you your parents are going to watch this, so I know it's tempered, but what do you want to tell them to stop doing? Let's start with Keren.
I think maybe stop making me so much food. And I know that's just because I feel like I've been eating 5 times more ever since we've been here.
I'm
and
so guilty of this.
Don't get me wrong, I love the attention that my mom has been giving me. She's always making sure I'm okay, that I'm fed and stuff, but maybe not so much. I don't want to get out of here Manumpa Loompa, so.
Okay, Darby, how about you?
Well, my dad actually lives in London, but my mom is here. She also cooks a lot. But my grandparents, so we FaceTime with them a lot. And a funny story is that actually my grandma, she can't stay in the house. She just can't. She has to get out. She has to do something every day. And so she was going out. She was just going out, not wearing a mask. And we were calling her. We were saying, you can't go out anymore. And, she's of older age, so she's put at more risk. So finally, she's like, okay, fine. I'll go to the store once a week. And we're like, no, just get what you need. And that's good for 2 weeks. So finally she got serious, and my grandpa told her not to as well. So finally we're all good and we're not going out. So yeah.
That's good. So you're actually parenting your grandmother. That's very lovely. You're not alone in that story. A lot of older people are feeling they're going to just go out. They're going to live their life. And they're the grandkids are the ones saying, stop, don't do it. So good for you. Okay, and then tell me something that they're doing right that you're grateful for.
My grandma, she doesn't really, she's more on the cooking side. She doesn't really bake a lot, but over the past few weeks, she's tried baking, and she's called me a couple times because I'm a huge baker. I love baking. She called me a couple times and she's like, okay, Darby, I'm making sticky buns. And she called me a couple times. In the end, they sadly didn't work out the way she planned, but I was like, that's baking. It's trial and error. And so I think this whole thing is actually an opportunity for me, even if it's virtually. And I think for a lot of other people to get closer with their relatives, especially those who are living apart from them or far away, that they don't usually get to see a lot.
Okay. Keren?
So one thing, this is more towards my dad. My mom's doing everything right.
Wow. I get to meet your mom.
So my dad, before we got quarantined, my dad was always at work, and I had time to see him and stuff, but it wasn't as much as now. So he didn't really, my dad used to be a chef, so he didn't really have the time to actually cook some stuff for me. And this whole time he's been cooking all of my favorites, and yeah, it's I've been living good. I've been living yeah.
Okay, Illana, anything else that you're hearing, what parents are doing right and what parents are doing wrong?
I think parents are just going day to day, and girls, you just got to be patient with us because there's a lot of moving parts. I think we're watchful. I think, there's a health threat out there and it's scary. And so parents are ever mindful. I am definitely telling my household to wash their hands way too often. It's just, people are tired of hearing it, but I cannot stop myself. But I think that, we're helping each other. We're inspiring each other. I think one question that I wanted to ask the girls was, what would you tell, you guys seem like you're both in a really good place right now, but what would you tell a girl that watches this who's really struggling with this, struggling with social distancing, struggling with remote learning and the whole quarantine scene? What would you tell that girl?
I think just take it one step at a time. It does take a lot getting used to, especially at first, because it's like, you miss the outdoors, you miss your friends and stuff, but you just have to take it step by step. And if it's getting to be too much for you, then reach out, ask people for help, talk to your guidance counselors. I know I've been talking to mine a lot. Talk to your parents, text your friends, FaceTime them, like keep your connections, because this, like, it's gonna be over eventually and you want to still have all of that.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And to add on, I watched this video a couple weeks ago, I think, and it said, always make sure you do at least one thing that makes you happy every day. And to also, additionally, I think having some sort of routine every day really helps you kind of just move through it, especially in tough times. And yeah, and making sure you keep the positivity up, because if you're just kind of wallowing in what's happening and the craziness, then you can't really enjoy the opportunities that are actually open right now. I mean, for example, I'm taking I'm taking a free course online for Harvard University. I mean, that's a huge opportunity. There are tons of opportunities online that people could be taking, even looking them up. An exercise class, things like that, I think really help you keep the positivity up in such a crazy, chaotic time.
Well, if nothing else, you are two of the wisest teenagers I've spoken with. You're like beyond your years. And I think this experience for your generation is going to be defining, and you two seem like you're rocking it. So thanks for taking the time with me. And however the future goes, I can't wait to hear what you bring to it, because you're both very impressive. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for having us.